What's your weird roommate experience? I was 28 and working night security at a warehouse in Tacoma. The pay was terrible, but the rent in Seattle was worse, so I'd found this room for rent on Craigslist in a house near Lakewood. The guy who owned the place, Dennis, was in his 50s and seemed normal enough when I met him. Quiet, kept to himself. He worked some kind of sales job that had him traveling a lot. The house was old, probably built in the 70s, with that brown paneling and orange carpet that nobody had bothered to update. My room was small, but it had a window that looked out onto the side yard, and Dennis said I could use the kitchen and living room whenever. Rent was $450 a month, which was basically unheard of, so I didn't ask too many questions. I moved in on a Saturday in March. Dennis helped me carry my mattress upstairs and then disappeared into his room. I unpacked my stuff, set up my PlayStation, and got ready for my first shift that night. The night shifts were brutal. I'd get home around 7 a.m. completely exhausted, eat something, and crash until mid-afternoon. The house was always quiet during the day. Dennis was either at work or traveling. I barely saw him. Sometimes I'd notice his truck was gone for days at a time. After about 3 weeks, I realized I legitimately hadn't seen Dennis in maybe 2 weeks. His truck hadn't been in the driveway. No sounds from his room. No dishes in the sink. Nothing. I figured he was on some extended work trip. He'd mentioned he sometimes had to go to conventions or training things. It was a Thursday in early April. I'd gotten home from work at my usual time, made some eggs, and went to bed around 8 a.m. My room got decent light in the mornings, so I'd hung up a heavy blanket over the window to keep it dark, but it was starting to get warm, so I'd left the actual window open behind the blanket for air circulation. I was just starting to drift off when I heard voices right outside my window. Male voices, low and deliberate. There's an open window right there. Yeah, I see it. Ground level 2. My brain snapped awake. Someone was Y7 talking about breaking into my room. I could hear footsteps on the gravel right outside. I threw off my blanket and grabbed my phone. My heart was hammering. I put on my bathrobe, the stupid terry cloth one my mom had given me for Christmas, and I crept out of my room and through the kitchen to the side door. I opened it as quietly as I could and peeked around the corner of the house. 2 cops were standing there in full uniform, radios crackling, looking at my window. One of them was maybe 30, the other one older with gray in his hair. Jesus Christ, I said, louder than I meant to. They both turned around fast, hands going to their belts. Whoa, hey, the younger one said. You live here? Yeah, you scared the hell out of me. I thought you were trying to break in. Sorry about that, the older cop said. He looked genuinely apologetic. We're looking for Dennis Halloran. He live here? Yeah, he's my roommate, or landlord. I rent a room from him. When's the last time you saw him? I had to think about it. Maybe 2 weeks ago? He travels a lot for work. Why? The cops looked at each other. The younger one pulled out a folded paper from his jacket. We have a warrant to search the premises. We need to check his room. Is he okay? Did something happen? We just need to check his room, sir. I let them in. My hands were shaking as I unlocked the front door. I led them to Dennis's room at the end of the hall. I'd never been inside. The door was closed, but not locked. The older cop opened it while I stood back. The younger one followed him in. I waited in the hallway feeling like I was going to throw up. They were in there for maybe 5 minutes. I heard drawers opening, closet doors sliding, then they came back out. Nothing here, the older cop said to his partner. What were you looking for? I asked. Can't discuss an ongoing investigation, the younger one said. But if Mr. Halloran comes back, you call us immediately. He handed me a card with a phone number. Is he dangerous? Should I be worried? Just call us if you see him. They left. I stood in the hallway for a long time after they were gone, staring at Dennis's empty room. I called the landlord whose name was actually on the lease, some guy named Rick who owned a few properties. He said Dennis had been subletting from him for 3 years and had always paid on time. He sounded annoyed that cops were involved. Dennis never came back. His room sat empty. After a month, Rick cleared it out. There was barely anything in there. Some clothes, a few books, a laptop that the cops apparently didn't take. I moved out 2 months later when my lease was up. I still have no idea what Dennis did or where he went. I tried Googling his name a few times but never found anything. Sometimes I think about those cops standing outside my window and wonder what would have happened if I'd stayed asleep,